So I want to preface this by saying this is coming from an account that was posting drawings of what they claim are actual photos from Doomsday. Now, we sort of talked about some of these before because this account, to me, when I started to hear about this account and see what they were doing, it became obvious to me that there are actual photos out in the wild. And some of the photos this person was leaking were so similar to the white background promotional images that were out there, to the makeup images that were out there, that my theory on this was like, okay, so this person's drawing it. They don't like AI. Totally cool. We're not using AI. Get it. But they're still basically leaking trade secrets, images that are protected from the set that, especially if you worked on it, you probably signed an NDA or something. And so it's very similar to just using the AI to layer over it. And just a TLDR on that, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I strongly feel that a lot of these AI slop images that we're getting are taking actual images from Doomsday, running them through AI using image blend or sharpen or adjustment, using a filter to create a completely new digital image that doesn't have digital watermarking. Marvel can't track these people. And I'm pretty confident that that is at least a portion of the AI images that are out there. Okay. Now, that takes us to yesterday. And something really freaking interesting happened yesterday. That account, which I just was speaking to you guys about, that account posted some of the craziest images that they have posted, and then promptly, within like 10 minutes, deleted everything they ever posted. My understanding is they did this because they got spooked, something having to do with Marvel legal, Disney legal, and they decided it wasn't worth the trouble. But here's the thing. I didn't sign no NDA, and I didn't hear no bell. So we're going to pull up these now deleted images, and we're going to start to go to speculation town, because wait till you see some of the shit that is in these different images, okay? So, first one, maybe most important, but certainly a very interesting one regardless, is this image of Victor Von Doom on his throne. So, chat, I would like to hear what you think of this and what are you seeing here before I go into some of my thoughts and I pull up some other images and whatnot. What do you make of this? Josh, do you think Don Cheadle's replacement for Iron Man 2 could be an example of Doom pulling Prime characters and switching them out? Cheadle's character, probably that scroll all along. Something like that could be going on. She posted something talking about I'm sorry, Marvel, and then deleted that post too. Wow, really? Yeah, the spell above him. Yes, you're speaking to the rune. We'll definitely talk about that. We'll talk about these runes here. Yeah, Thrones looks like eternal energy. Ooh, okay, all right. I like that. I like where your head's at. Yeah. It looks like he collects something from every hero he defeats. Oh, I like that. I like where your head's at there. Yeah. My name is Victor. You killed my timeline. Prepare to die. Yeah, something like that. Big Sauce, what's up, buddy? Good morning. Okay, I'll just get into some of my thoughts about it. Dude, the first thing that comes to mind is the pose, man. I mean, I know that's a subtle thing. It's a little thing. But this is Doom. Swagger, dude. You know what RDJ has? Aura. My man has aura. And, there's just something about, because again, this is a drawing based off an actual image for Doomsday. And Doom actually on this throne with this pose, this sort of visual body language and this swagger and this aura, god damn. So that's the first thing that comes to mind for me is like, dude, this is good. This is good, okay? But then beyond that, of course, the throne itself is incredibly interesting. Now, where is this located? We don't know, but it is inside of his planet-sized Death Star ship, which is probably an Ego the Living Planet Doom variant. The symbols in the back, we don't know what they mean, but they are the same symbols we see Stephen Strange, in that same episode that I've been talking about, where he meets Castiligro or whatever that guy's name is, and tries to change the fixed moment in time. They are the same symbols that are on the Eternals. Now, they're actually a little harder to see on the Eternals, but they're these symbols right here. They are also symbols found in Mount Wundagore and probably in a few other places as well, okay? By the way, that symbol in the middle of his chest is seen in Loki Season 2 in the Citadel at the End of Time on the floor. It is engraved in the floor, and there's all that Kinsigi gold that is in the cracks within that place there. Okay, so what I think it is, it's either celestial technology, and it's just maybe some celestial tech, or it is quite literally a world forge. It is possible that Doom retrofitted a world forge to be his base of operations or his ship. Maybe it's not the Ego of the Living Planet thing like it was in Avengers Forever, and maybe instead it is literally a world forge that Doom has taken over. Okay, so those are some thoughts and some ideas and things of that nature. Now let's talk about the symbol in the middle. Right, the symbol in the middle I could not pinpoint. I'm wondering if any of you recognize that symbol. I found the closest thing to it. Here, I'll pull it. Actually, I'll just pull it up for you. We'll just talk about it right here. So the closest thing that I could find to that symbol is the symbol that's on all of the sort of dark disciples or the followers of Dormammu from the Dark Dimension. Now, again, not a one-to-one here, but it's the closest thing I could find in the Marvel catalog that matches up to it. And what's kind of interesting about it is if the Dark Dimension is the dark antimatter energy and creation or life force energy done by who? The Celestials and the Eternals represents the sort of positive, more life size of the energy, then like it's kind of interesting that Doom could potentially have a throne which is literally using both. And the reason that's interesting is because there are a lot of rumors suggesting that Sentry and his ability to hold both kinds of energy will make him the perfect tool for Doom to be able to use to, number one, maybe destroy all of the universes, but number two, to put it all back together via Battleworld, right? So that's kind of the thing I'm thinking insofar as what is going on with this image here with Doom and the symbols in the background. Because this World Forge thing is so wild to me. Do you guys remember that, like, the forge, the literal forge, Nev Delir, which created the Infinity Gauntlet? Do you recall that it uses sort of rings, and it has that spherical shape? And the thing I can't stop thinking about is how often we see both the rings and also the sort of Dyson sphere spinning circle things. And this is utilizing the energy of a star, right? To create and forge different things. Here, I'll pull up another image for you. This is something from Eternals. And again, it's a lot of these circles, right? Here's an image from Quantum Mania. And it's all these circles. Here's the Rainbow Bridge, which I didn't even remember had circles and technically is a sphere where energy shoots out of, and it's got a bunch of the light force energy in there as well. Here is the World Forge, which is so obviously circular and a lot of circles. And inside the World Forge, they actually have one of those spinning uh, spheres. Okay, and these things have been all over Marvel. I mean, Doc Strange 1, it's like barely in the movie, but Doc Strange 1 shows Mads Mikkelsen's character and some of those other people when they're harnessing the power of the dark dimension inside the sanctum. This is during the fight with Steven, and they're freeing the homie. They create a spinning circle of things as well. And I keep thinking of like this image here, which is, you know, a spell and using all of these circles. This reminds me a lot of like the Earth and the circles of the meridians of energy that were said to exist on the Earth, which I have right here for you, right? Remember when it was explained by the Ancient One that these meridians of energy on the Earth are where the sanctums are located, and it's how they fight against the supernatural. And, you know, you look at these symbols here, and on the one hand, you see the symbols and you're like, okay, so there's just these curving lines here. But I think what that is a shot. If you imagine the circles themselves, remember when Shang-Chi held it up and was doing like the Dragon Ball Z move? At any moment, if you took a flat image of those things rotating around, you would get a shape like this. So like even this in some ways is like that spherical cube thing, right? And then I think of this and how all of the universes are stacked on each other. And what do they all look like? Circles and a spherical object. Are these all world forges? Like, what is the deal? Here's an interesting shot from Quantumania, which shows the sacred timeline and other timelines around it that are all going into chaos, right? And we know that He Who Remains separated the sacred timeline. And how did he separate it? He separated it as a circle, right? I mean, here's another shot of it right here. The sacred timeline, right? So I don't know exactly how it all fits together, but I'll tell you my theory. I'll tell you what I think they're cooking. And it actually has to do with alchemy. Here's a bunch of symbols from alchemy. And what is alchemy? What is it like ultimately? Like what's the idea behind alchemy? It is a transfer of an energy state into a different energy state, right? So meaning lead to gold. Lead has a molecular structure. It's actually moving. It's vibrating. The atoms are moving. Most of it's actually empty space, which is why some people, have you ever heard of the book, The Holographic Universe, where people think we live in like a hologram or there's a holographic aspect to this reality? So what alchemy is the idea of taking a thing which has a molecular structure. And what's a molecule? It's these circles. It's these spheres and circles, okay? And it's like we take that structure and we, using energy, change the structure, and then it becomes an entirely new thing. So I think basically what Marvel's been telling us for years is that magic and science are the same thing. It's all alchemy. And that the Celestials and perhaps the Eternals, you know, through the celestial energy, is taking like life force energy, and they're using alchemy to literally create life, foster life, but also create their artificial life via, you know, the Eternals and whatnot. But there is, of course, another side of it. There is an Alioth. There is a Galactus. There is a dark dimension. There is a side of that process, which is destruction. And you think about the Phoenix Force, right? So what is the Phoenix Force? Well, the Phoenix Force is the connection to all life ever, but it burns out and dies. There's always a death cycle. The Phoenix rises from the ashes and burns super bright until it burns out, becomes ashes, and then there's another Phoenix that rises and is born through it. And so there's something going on with this fundamental physics, the alchemy, the magic, the high level science, whatever you want to call it. I think the way all realities are built in Marvel will be explained as basically the same process. And when He Who Remains recreated the sacred timeline, he bastardized that process. He basically used all sorts of tricks and things and ways to stop that process from happening. And this is where the comments from Sylvie come in, where Sylvie says the universe manifests chaos because it wants to break free. Right? So, look, definitely went off the deep end on a lot of that shit, and who knows exactly what it means. But, dude, the connection to the Celestials, the connection to destruction energy and light energy, it has been showing up in Marvel throughout its entire run. It seems to be the focus of Deadpool and Wolverine in a lot of ways. I think Galactus is potentially, and the Power Cosmic is is a version of it. I think the Celestials and the Eternal movie was made specifically to introduce that idea. I mean, I think this is somewhat connected to the way by which Doctor Doom is going to tap into ultimate power, destroy the entire multiverse, and rebuild it. It's pretty crazy, but we're not done. We're not done. Because the other thing we got to talk about is this. The other thing we got to talk about is this. So, what is this? What is this? It's the MCU. God damn it! I thought Eternals was good, and then I sobered up. Well, that's your problem. Mistress Death. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Yeah. If Tony is Doom and Steve is Jahoni, what the fuck? The original Avengers in the original Prime timeline. I'm not sure, man. I think that's part of the fun. MCU Black Swan, maybe. Finally, Three Sisters of Fate, maybe. Okay, so what is this? This is likely what started the whole female Doctor Doom thing. Okay, now this story has been really interesting, which, by the way, like, your boy's kind of been on this shit, like, the whole time. I don't like to brag. I love to brag, actually, but you guys don't like it, so I'm going to try not to. Yeah, pretty much told you from Jump Street. Look, Daniel comes out and he has this report, which also, too, remember when Roka only mentioned 2 of the 3? Kidneys. Okay, kidneys. Daniel has a scoop. Talks about female Doom variants. The internet loses its mind. Gary from Nerderotic says, no truth to this whatsoever, okay? I hear from not one, but 2 incredibly reliable people that it is true. I was told there are 3 of them. I was told they're wearing golden masks. There was one wearing purple. There was one wearing gold. And there was one wearing green. Okay? Now, Daniel kind of walked back on if they are Doom bots or Doom variants. I was also told about one that has horns, a male that has the same gold mask, but his mouthpiece is removed so that he can speak, maybe. This is coming from that same account, which posted the images and then got spooked and deleted all their shit. But this lines up with what I was told from those 2 reliable sources. This lines up with what Daniel said. This lines up with what Roka said. And it's seeming more and more, I hope you're paying attention, that these images are real, that these reports are real. So what do we think's going on here? Well, I mean, my mind hasn't really changed that much on this, to be honest with you. I think they are not Doom variants. I think these are powerful female characters that were forced to be subservient to Doom. I think it's very possible that one of them is Clea. I think it's very possible that one of them is Sylvie. And I think the other one, because this gold to me looks almost like red, right? So this one could be Wanda, or it could be Sadie Sink's Jean Grey, which I know it's a whole nother thing and you don't have to believe that or whatever. But like, I kind of think that's what it could be. So just to sort of TLDR the whole thing with that, I think this because of the Avengers Forever run. Kind of interesting that these are out in the wild, huh? So anyway, what are your thoughts, comments, questions, concerns about the whole thing, man? 2 big images. Image with Doom in his throne, image of these female Dooms, which makes the last couple of weeks of leaks make a lot more sense. So what do you think here? Gold looking red, spherical cubes. I want whatever Josh had this morning. You don't think that looks red? Chat, you don't think that looks red? Nobody? All I know is Kratos mopped the floor with the Sisters of Fate, Thor, Odin, Baldur, Zeus. So put Doom up against him, why don't you? Hey, fair. Maybe orange? Bronze-ish? Okay, all right. I think it could be red. But again, we're looking at a drawing of a thing they have behind the scenes, right? Female Doom concept can go hard. They're going to take hella names. Yeah, maybe. Looks burgundy. Ron Burgundy? As long as we see them jump Captain Marvel, say less. I'm down. I say burnt orange? What the hell's going on with you? What the hell's going on with you today, chat? Like a dark phoenix? Ooh, it could be a dark phoenix. The light on it makes it where it could look different. Sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, look, color theory is really weird. I mean, not to brag, but like I took color theory classes at a fine art school, and it's actually fascinating. If you've ever seen these experiments where they'll have a cube in the center that's colored, and then a sort of a frame of color around it. You change the frame, and the color in the center changes. Not physically, but inside your mind. And there's actually like, there's a lot of things that can affect color. This is why in a lot of movies you will notice cool blues and warm oranges. That's like one of the cinematographers love that, because not just the juxtaposition, but the way those two colors blend to create a palette is often very, very visually stimulating. So notice that actually. When you go watch movies, go see how many scenes have a cool blue and a warm orange. You're going to be surprised at how often you see that. Frigga and Hela could be under the mask? Yeah, maybe. Maybe. It's OG Gene? Oh, that would be fascinating if it's like Femke. Woo! That would be wild. Isn't that perception theory rather than color theory? I actually made the same argument to my professor. He got really mad at me. I literally said that same shit. Where I was like, isn't this more of a psychological thing than actually the colors themselves? He was like, do you want a passing grade? Shut the fuck up. He was probably nicer about it than that, but yeah. Red She-Hulk and a red cloak? I mean, that's the skinniest, lamest red She-Hulk I've ever seen in my life, if that's what it is. Be cooler if they were all Feige variants. Maybe they are. One of them could be Destiny. I mean, I like that. The problem is we don't know shit about Destiny. I mean, she's not even established in the Fox X-Men movies, is she? I can't recall a time when she's established. So you're talking about like there's already enough heavy lifting going on in these movies. Utilize the shit from the other films is what I would say. Yeah. Listening to nerdy Josh theories, making some carne asada tacos, and getting ready for the Eagles to whoop the Bears. What a good Friday off. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. And I hope they whoop them Bears too, man. I'm salty about that loss the Steelers had. Man, Steelers fans are melting the fuck down about Tomlin. It's crazy. But I kind of get it. I mean, we'll see what happens. Hold the F up. Weren't we supposed to get Betty She-Hulk in that one Red Bull commercial? I can't recall what you're talking about. Send me a link to that, though. That sounds interesting, dude. Femke Jenkins had a recent interview with a Dutch show, weirdly hinting and dancing around her future projects, knowing she doesn't do a lot these days anymore, but that's a bit unusual, but enough. Yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to trust anything the actors say, right? I mean, the actors are like, dude, you know who had the best rebuttal ever? Was Tatiana Maslany. So everybody knew Tatiana Maslany had been cast as She-Hulk. And Jimmy Fallon put her on the spot. Bro, she literally had me questioning shit I had seen with my eyeballs. Because she was like, no, I know this thing happens. It's actually really destructive to people's career when it happens. It's absolutely not true. And I just really hope people realize that. Like she was, and I was like, damn, you acted better there than the whole goddamn She-Hulk show. But like, this is just to say, you cannot trust these motherfuckers. They sign, basically it's like poker. You know, table talk? If you're European, you might not know this concept. In Europe, they're just way too fucking polite. I hate it. In America, we have what's called table talk. And the rules of the casino are actually really interesting. You're allowed to say anything except the truth. Meaning, you cannot tell them what you have. You can say anything. Like one of my favorite ones would be when a guy, when I was representing a straight or a flush or whatever, you know, I'd do a big bet on the river and I would just look at the guy and be like, look, man, I've got it. I can't say like, I've got the straight, I've got the flush, I have an 8-7 offsuit or whatever, but I would just look at him and say like, look, man, I got it. And that's table talk. But the same thing is true of these actors. They sign an NDA. The one thing they cannot say is the truth, if they're in it. Makes it difficult because if they're not in it and they never sign the NDA, then they could say what we would assume would be the truth, right? But yeah. That's kind of That's kind of what I think is going on there.